Your writing voice is a combination of many things. The rhythm of your sentences, the way you write dialogue, how much exposition do you use, all of these things that come together to form the unique style in which you write. Your writing style is unique in the same way that your speaking voice is unique. The way you think is unique. How you understand and express yourself to the world is influenced by your family, your friends, the media you consume, as well as your upbringing. You, just like everyone else, are one of a kind. You are an intersection of a shit ton of information and influences converging at a single point. You. I believe the first step to just about everything is self-awareness. Begin observing the way that you talk throughout the day. Your cadence, your speed, your tone, the vocabulary that you use. Understanding how you speak helps you understand how you think. And writing is thinking. So we know that our sheer existence is a big fucking nexus of all this information and these influences that make us up. And the same is true of your writing style. When you start learning any craft, you begin by drawing from and copying the influences that inspire you and make you excited. And you will do this without even realizing it, and that is okay. Like the first epic fantasy series that I tried writing when I was like 12 and never finished, it was a combination of direct ripoffs of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars. Instead of lightsabers, they had power swords, and there were lots of talking animals and allegorical things. The point is, it's completely normal. As I got older, I think I got so hung up on trying to be unique and like one of a kind and everything that I really think it prevented me from the growth that I could have had. I was so concerned with like being so different and all these different things that I didn't embrace the process and probably get as far as I could have if I would have just continued creating. So if there's anything you take away from this, it's that you need to keep doing. The first time you do it, it's probably not going to be good, but each time after that, you suck a little bit less and a little bit less until eventually you begin improving at the thing that you love doing. We soak things in like sponges, whether we mean to or not. If you're constantly surrounded by complainers and shit talkers and negative people, it's going to be hard not to be a negative person yourself. So in the same way, what you enjoy reading is going to have an impact on your writing style. But try not to worry about this too much. Everyone starts out copying and drawing heavy from the stuff that they love, but it's just part of the process. You might find that some authors tend to write in first person or third person. They might have long run-on sentences to convey a character's racing thought, or they might have short, tight sentences to move the action along. What I loved about Hemingway was the simplicity of the words on the page. He showed a lot more than he told. Characters' emotions are implied. There's always more below the surface. Then when I started reading Stephen King, it was a bit of a different style. You get a lot of insights into the characters' minds, the way they're thinking and processing things, and it helps build the suspense and the horror. So I've adopted aspects of these authors in my writing. As you continue to read, branch out to different authors, take notes on their style, things that you like that they do, things you don't like that they do, and gradually you will find that bits and pieces from all these different influences that will work well for you. Oftentimes when we're writing, we draw upon people, places, and experiences that we've had because they're familiar to us. They come naturally to us. It would only make sense that we are the best ones telling that story because it happened to us. Think about an experience that you've had. Maybe it's painful, maybe it's funny, but you will tell that story in a way that only you can tell because you are telling it from your perspective. You saw it through your eyes and you felt it with your feelings. If you're still at a stage in the process where you're getting a feel for putting words onto the page, consider taking some of these stories that you've experienced in your own life and just writing them out on the page. Close your eyes if you have to like get in the mindset, but just let the words flow, get the story out, get up, take a walk, come back a little while later, and then take a look at it and see what you've done. Becoming comfortable telling these stories and experiences that you know best better equips you to incorporate them into your own works of fiction by telling them in unique ways. So what if talking about yourself or reflecting on your personal experiences is uncomfortable? Well, that's really, I think, what this all boils down to. If you're like me, unleashing vulnerability and letting yourself like bleed on the page comes pretty naturally to me. I'm usually a pretty open book with people. It's just part of my DNA. But if you're not like that, it's okay. It takes practice and it takes patience. But when you can access that deep emotional well inside of you, the pain, the truth that is uniquely yours, that is your superpower. That is the quintessence by which your voice will take shape. It's like a little piece of clay. Dig, 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 dig. Oh, what's this? It's a little piece of clay. There's your writing voice. It informs the stories we decide to tell, why we decide to tell them, and how we decide to tell them. Don't pressure yourself to figure it out all at once. It can be a lot working on getting it, that stuff inside and that truth. So go at your pace, word by word. Just chip away at that inner stuff. All right, so you've written some stuff. Is it any good? Maybe. Writing is subjective. Yeah, you usually want to follow the basic conventions of grammar, but at the end of the day, writing is a matter of opinion, which means other people need to read it. So, do you just like blast it out on social media and see what happens? You could. I'm pretty fortunate to have a handful of friends who I can send my work to. Usually after I finish the first draft, I'll revise it 1 to 3 times maybe, and then I'll send it to them and be like, give me your honest feedback, and be brutally honest. I mean, this can be tough when you're starting out. You might be uncertain of yourself, questioning if you're really meant to do this. But the thing is, not all feedback you get will be good. They might suggest something for your story that just doesn't feel right to you. And if it feels wrong, you don't have to listen to it. Personally, I would rather follow my own ideas and what I feel is right and discover that I was wrong in the end, as opposed to taking somebody else's advice, changing things, not feeling good about it, failing, and then wondering if I would have been right all along. Make sense? After my initial readers, I'll revise it a little bit and then consider putting it out to the world, but that's just how I am. So when you've finished a draft and it's time to start revising, I definitely recommend reading it out loud to yourself. Listen to how it sounds coming out your mouth. I definitely feel like we can become blind just reading our own words on paper. Once you hear them, you'll begin to notice how certain sentences just like feel off. Often I'll notice that like the rhythm just isn't right in a sentence. The syllables feel wrong or something like that. Technically, I've written the right words, it makes sense, but it's not pleasing to read. It just doesn't hit right. Hearing it out loud allows you to see where you can change the sentence structure, pick a different word, reorganize a paragraph even. Above all, remember that this is a process. It takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes work. I was born with some natural talents for writing, but if I never tried to improve or never questioned my own work or never tried to be better, I would only ever be at that starting level. I'm fucking 31 years old now. I was lax and shitty and delusional throughout my 20s, so I definitely think I could be farther in the process if I would have embraced the process itself and not spending so much time getting hung up on feeling bad about myself or about my work. Just, you've heard embrace the suck. That's what it is. And as you continue writing, revising, looking back at your work, moving on to a next project, doing that time and time again is just going to make you better, just like training to be a better athlete or things like that. So I hope this has given you some ideas and encouragement on how to find your writing voice, and really it all boils down to just starting and doing. Remember, 2,000 steps make a mile, approximately. Start small, start humble, and above all, be kind to yourself. And leave any questions in the comments. Let me know what you would want to hear about next time. Thanks.